Welcome in. I am G-Paw, and this is the month of May's All-Stars, baby. The top 10 most used, most powerful, best characters for the month of May currently in game. Right here, right now. Starting off the list at number 1 here. Yes, I'm going to start at number 1. There's no reason to wait. I think we all know who it is, right? And that's going to be Gauze Ironhide. Now, it was close between him and Strider, but I'll explain here why I chose Gauze Ironhide. Now, Gauze Ironhide is found in Guild Campaign Chapter 1, Last Node, for 8 energy. It should be your first farm in the Guild Campaign, essentially, once you get to this node. And you'll unlock him at 4 stars. The reason I chose for him to be so high on this list, starting off, is when you do unlock him, he becomes relevant in every game mode. Your challenges, your arena, and your campaigns. It will push your shadow team way further. It essentially doubles their power in my mind. Like he's a total game-changing character. Having played the game, I'm sure you all know this. I just kind of want to touch on why he's so great here. On his A3, it's an AoE. And most characters, if they get an AoE attack, you're lucky. It's massive damage here. As well as it can get stronger in the Mordor team with synergies and such. But he stands out for that massive AoE, hitting everybody. He can clear campaign stages rather quick, as well as an arena. And his special, okay, this is even better than his ultimate, in my opinion. Yes, it's 15% less damage, but it's going to dispel 1 boon from each enemy, which really leads me to believe he's going to be great against the Rivendell team, because they're based all around boons and how many boons they got. Like Arwen, I think she needs 4 boons or something, and she gets 2 turns consecutively. As well as I think maybe some of her damage is based on how many boons they have and such. I'm not real sure there, but this is going to be huge against the upcoming Rivendell team, I do believe. And that's 2 AoEs. I said usually you're lucky if you get 1. This guy has 2, okay? And it's a short cooldown on him. Like, this one's 3-turn cooldown. That's just insane, right? Now, his basic is 130% damage single target, but when he's below half health, which ain't very often because he's so tanky, right? He's just one of the tankiest characters in the game. He's a little slow, but he's very, very tanky. His damage jumps up 40%, and it's only going to get better as you increase this skill. So that is why Ironhide, Gauze Ironhide, is number 1 on my list. Alright, number 2 on my list. And since it was such a close close tie for first, I put Strider as number 2. The reason being is his kit's quite sensational. He's used in every game mode as well. Most arena teams, light side campaign, he is going to be one of your starting 5, as well as he's just great in challenges and everywhere else. I mean, he's an all-around amazing character. One of the best plug and plays, as is Gauze Ironhide, but he is one of the best here because you can put him in any team comp and he's going to get done what he's set out to do. Now, I have mine at Gear Tier 6 here, but essentially he's useful in every game mode. Great plug and play. Awesome kit, and I want to talk about his kit a little bit here. He's even better with the hobbits, as he will stealth them and give them more damage and such. It just kind of ramps up consecutively. But his basic, attack the target enemy for 130% damage. If the target has a Bane, instead amp it up to 170. So this is more likely to get that 170 than not, especially if you're running them with Isengard orcs, because they're pumping out Banes left and right. Alright, so now on his ultimate, it's called Heroic Charge. Attack all enemies for 140% damage. This attack has 15% plus 15% crit chance. Now, if it crits, and it crits on like 1, 2, or 3 out of the 5 characters it hits, it's quite wonderful, okay? And it's big damage across the board, and it just keeps getting better. His special is just Burn the Shadows, which is a 3-hitter, applying a burn for 2 turns. A burn essentially is, I believe it's 5% damage. Take damage based on the percentage of the defender's max health. I don't know if it's 5% or 2.5%. I can't imagine it being a 10% of their max health, but it might be. And his passive here, gain 10% crit chance, so that's huge. It's helping his crit already. He's got beefy armor and additional 5 armor for each stealth ally, which won't happen unless you're within the team of Road to Rivendell. But that is why I got Strider as number 2 on my list. Alright, coming in at number 3 here on my top 10 list is Lady Eowyn. Right? And she's wonderful. In the movies, everywhere, she's just an amazing character. The reason I did go with her as number 3 over Ugluk is simply because they give her to you for free in the beginning, as well as her kit offers more as a plug and play character. She's usable anywhere in the game. She's useful for everything. Challenges, light side campaign. One of the best light side characters currently that we have available to us early on. Now her kit, what really stands out is her leader ability is pretty much worthless unless she's within the Rohan 3. And when she is, it's giving them a ton of crit, as well as chance during the crit is during assist and counterattacks. My bad. But she's just pumping up their crit like crazy, and they hit hard already. So on her basic, she's going to attack an enemy and gain a stack of defensive, which is going to make her more tanky. It's essentially defense up. Block the next hit from an enemy attack. I don't think it does that, actually. I did not understand that that's what defensive did. I thought it actually reduced the damage incoming. That's weird. She's going to grant might for 1 turn to self and 2 random allies, which makes her an amazing plug-and-play character. Call the ally with the highest damage to assist. So that could be anybody on your team. Strider, God's Ironhide is going to hit with their basic, and it's just that much more damage. As well as if she granted them might, it's going to be even that more powerful on their basic. Coming in for her ultimate, Break the Cage, is going to cleanse, and this is huge. Cleanse 2 Bane from self and 1 Bane from all allies. So it doesn't matter who the allies are, it's going to cleanse. Attack the target enemy for big damage and 5% additional damage per Bane cleansed. So if you're fighting the Isengard Orcs and you cleanse a ton of Banes, let's say 5, that's 25% additional damage per Bane cleansed. Inflict disable for 1 turn on target enemy, which is ability block essentially. They can only use their basic ability. It's just massive, right? Her kit is quite phenomenal, and on every one of these, she's doing something to help herself or her team. On turn, she has a 50% chance, and it goes up to 100, I believe, here. Yeah, always gain counter. To gain counterattack. Max of 3 stacks. So if she's not hit, she won't counter, so it'll continue to stack up. And then she's just that much harder. Every time you hit her, she's going to smack you. When an ally is inflicted with a Bane, gain 2.5% turn meter. And her kit, for that reason, is why she's number 2. And not, or number 3 and not number 4. Number 4, Ugluk, and he is quite sensational. He will be in your arena team more than likely, if not as a plug and play, as part of the Isengard 3. He's great all around. He's used in challenges, and he's big on your shadow side campaign. You get him early off in the game. I think he's your first villain that you unlock, and he's just gets better as you invest into him. He's an amazing character all around. What really stands out for me is with synergies and whatnot, he gives his Isengard squad members 10% focus. So in the group, obviously he's going to be better, but when an Isengard squad member inflicts a Bane, heal all squad members. So that could be any squad member. The Isengard member has to inflict the Bane. So when he applies blind, it's going to heal every character, no matter who they are, Isengard or not, for 2.5%. And I think that's where it maxes, is 2.5%. Yeah. And then he just buffs the Isengard team as such. Here on his basic, he's going to attack for 130% damage with a 50% chance to gain a stack of provoke up to a max of 2. So if he's a provoke, essentially makes them hit you. Now you're always going to gain provoke right here once you leveled up to 4. So that means they have to hit him once, and it keeps the damage off other people, helping your tank. It's kind of like a pseudo tank, taking some of that damage away from your main tank. On his special, he's going to attack the enemy target for huge damage and inflict blind. Now 160%, people are like, that ain't really that huge. In this game, that's really decent, 160% damage, especially at level 3. It's only going to get better with adding another 90%, putting it at a 250 hitter. So that blind is just phenomenal. It's going to take away AoEs from God's Ironhide as well as Strider or anybody else you blind. Here on its ultimate, Dirty Work, attack the target enemy 2 times for 110% damage, so it's a 2-hitter, and inflict disable for 1 turn. Gain 1 stack of defensive. Now, it says it blocks the next attack. I think it just makes them weaker. Honestly, I don't understand. Maybe it does block them. Comment down below if you know the difference, but I'm pretty sure it just makes them weaker. Maybe I'm thinking of protection that makes your attacks weaker. Yeah, defensive might actually block it. If Malher is an ally, instead deal 130% damage, which he's going to be, Malher. More than likely when you're running Ugluk, deal 130% damage per hit and also grant 1 stack of defensive to Malher, making him more tanky as well. His kit is quite phenomenal. Gain 15% block chance, so he actually has an outright chance of just blocking it or some of the damage. On block, inflict weak-minded. So if he does block, he's going to inflict a Bane, making them more susceptible to taking other Banes. So the resistance to your debuffs is going to go down 50%. His kit is quite wonderful, and he can stand alone in a lot of places. Alright, number 5 and 6 are actually tied on my top 10 tier list here. We're going to start off with Dunhar, and that's simply because I use him a lot more and with my account. And you could go either way depending on what you chose. But Dunhar, you're going to use him in... I use him in Arena. A lot of people do. You're going to use him in your challenges, obviously, because he's one of your strongest characters, and he fits a lot of the things you need, like the Shadow Crystal farm in challenges, as well as he's a great healer. He's kind of the only healer in my mind for the Shadow Side campaign currently. And his heals are quite wonderful. I mean, it's single target, but it is a great heal. So I want to start off on his passive, Burning Drop. So every time on his turn, grant 1 stack of defensive. And as we just learned, it blocks the next hit from an enemy. So if somebody's hurt, next time someone hits them, it's going to do 0 damage. That could be huge. That is game changing. And this is every time on his turn. He also helps himself with max health and focus, increasing his heal. On his ultimate, it is his heal, Cruel Medicine. It's going to heal, again, the most wounded squad member for 800 health plus 14%. And right now its health's at about 7,600, so I figured that out to be about 1,200, 1,300 heal, plus the 800. It's 2,100 point heal, which right now that could be between 2 and 4 attacks from an enemy that you're healing somebody for. Inflict weaken for 1 turn on 2 random enemies, which is huge, because within his team of Isengard 3, they pump out debuffs, and if the opponent's weakened, they're more susceptible. On his special here, he has a heal block, which is massive, while hitting really, really hard, 170% damage. So that's just another bonus while doing damage, which characters that do that are quite wonderful. Even on his basic, he's inflicting 1 stack of bleed for 2 turns. Quite wonderful kit. And that's why he is tied for 5th and 6th with none other than Eothane. And I couldn't choose between the two. Eothane offers his own help and support for his light side, as well as if you chose to go Rohan 3 in the arena, he's probably going to be higher up than Dunhar for you on your top 10 list. But both are right there in the fight. I want to go over Eothane real quick and just kind of talk about why his kit's so swell. You use him in challenges, light side campaign, as well as arena if that's the way you went. You might not use him, you might use Dunhar in the Isengard 3. He's got a little bit of plug and play abilities here I'm going to talk about, but nothing to set him that far ahead of Dunhar to move him up the top 10 tier list for me. He is used a lot currently in my roster, and that's why he made the list. So his passive is just going to gain max health, and it looks like it just keeps going higher and higher, which makes him more beefy. He's going to take more hits. And the reason that's so important is on his special, he actually gains 3 stacks of provoke and grants 10% turn meter to all squad members. So while telling the enemy they have to hit him 3 times before anybody else, he's also speeding up their turn meter so they can pump out damage even more while he's taking a beating. So that health is really, really going to help. He is quite squishy in my opinion for a tank. I've never seen a tank melt so quick, but usually by the time the provokes are gone, he's almost dead. His ultimate is a AoE, which, like I said, when you have one of these on your character as one of their skills in AoE, that's pretty awesome, and that'll set them above anybody that doesn't have it, essentially. Attack all enemies for really low damage, but it's damage. Grant 1 stack of counter attack to self and 3 random allies. So this can be on any team. You could put him with anybody you want. Your Isengard 3, Gauze, and him, and he will give them counter attacks. You know what I mean? Essentially, you're going to want to put him with a team that has really high damage characters, so when they're having counter attacks, they're going to just melt your enemy. And counter attacks are very, very powerful. Attack the target enemy for 110% damage and inflict expose. Now an expose, essentially, it's just reducing their defense by 50%. Now it's a defense down, and this is huge. Because if you're manually controlling and you don't want to taunt, just put defense down, people are just going to melt that enemy. And it's on his basic. So when he counters, he's applying that defense down when he counters against an enemy. It's massive, okay? And that's why he's tied for 6th and 5th on my top 10. Coming in at number 7, Eomer. And the reason he's at number 7 is simply because his ability here, it's called Marshal's Command, is actually going to summon a minion character, which is going to give you a 6th person on the field to take a hit instead of one of your other premium characters. Let's see if we can pull him up here. And he actually can do some decent damage. I mean, I don't know how high his attack and his stats are, but he's gaining himself might if he survives. Again, he's attacking the target multiple times. That'll clear off those provokes on enemies. It's just having that summon is very unique to him and really helps him solidify the 7th place in my top 10. On his special, he is on his turn going to heal every single time by 4% until you level it up a little bit more here. But he's also has a chance to gain assistance. And once you got that maxed and you're always getting it, assistance is hardcore. It's every time one of your allies attacks with a basic, you're going to come and assist them. So it's going to make it a huge, huge attack. And it is just 1 stack currently. I don't know if that doesn't seem to change. Up to a max of 2. Needless to say, it's annoying in arena. I've went against it several times. And when he does his assistance, it's actually going to use his basic. Attack the target enemy for 120% damage and gain 10% turn meter. So it's going to speed him up, I do believe is how it works. And it's going to do quite a decent amount of damage. Aemir is the big hitter for the Rohan 3. Now in his ultimate, he's going to cleanse 1 Bane from Self and Eothen. So he really functions the best with Eowyn and Eothen, the Rohan 3. Obviously the synergies really help, but I mean it's really changes his kit. If he's with them too, his kit is 10 times better. Attack the target enemy 3 times for 70% damage per hit. If Eothen is an ally, this attack deals 80 per hit, so an extra 30% damage overall, just for being on the same team as Eothen. But it's a 3-hitter on the ultimate. Good. It's not an AoE, but that is why he is 7th on my top 10. Number 8, Malher. And everybody's out there is probably like, what? Where are the elves? Where's Arwen? Where's Elrond? And like I said in the beginning, this list is off of their usability through the month of May. And they'll probably continue to be really useful until we get some new characters in the game, or we start being able to get some of these late farm characters. As well as these are all free to play viable. So Malher, how did he get to number 8 in the top 10 of all the characters currently in Lord of the Rings? Well, his use, and where I'm using him is everywhere. Arena, Shadow Campaign, his team synergy with Isengard 3, as well as in challenges, he's just rocking it. He's a great all-around character. He doesn't have the craziest kit. It's rather interesting though. Let's go ahead and dive in and take a look here real quick. On crit, he's going to cleanse a Bane from himself, and he has a ton of crit built in throughout his skills. Plus, with his synergy from Isengard, there's quite a bit of crit in the team. Isengard squad members, again, if he's synergizing, he's going to give out some crit chance, but personally, he's going to get 10% crit. Now, his ultimate and his big hitter right here. Attack the target enemy for 210% damage, which is just massive amount of damage for a single target, right? Especially at level 3. I haven't even got the damage maxed out. It actually looks like it maxes at 340% damage. 300% damage, my bad. 340, yeah. That's huge. That's going to delete half of someone's life bar. Finish them off type of deal. And if not, it's going to inflict slow for 1 turn. Meaning they might not get another turn before they die. As well as it's calling Ugluk to assist. Now, Ugluk hits hard. As well as this guy's massive 340% damage. It's going to delete a character potentially in the future. His special, he gains 2 stacks of regeneration, just healing for 5% each time he takes a turn. And he gains deadly, increasing his crit by 30%. Again, the crit is built in heavy here. So on that 210, he crits. It could be a 300%, depending on if it's a 50% increase in damage or 100%. It could be a 420, you know what I mean? I don't know how they run crit in this game, but usually crits are between 50 and 100% increase in damage. It's just massive. He also gains haste, so casting this straight out of the gate, he's going to gain 30% speed as well as 20% turn meter, bringing him right up on the tail of people, if not lapping some of the slower characters, like God's Ironhide, to be able to take his ultimate after giving himself deadly. So that's something to bear in mind. His basic ain't nothing special. It's actually rather lackluster. Attack the target enemy for 120% damage. Gain 10% crit chance for this attack. So if it does not crit, it's pretty much a waste of a move. It's like throwing mud at the wall and hoping it sticks. It's pretty lackluster there. But his just overall use and viability early on in this game has been phenomenal and probably will continue for the foreseeable future. Last but not least, number 10. Comment down below who you think it is and see if you are right before you actually see me reveal it right here. Also, comment down below on who your your best character is, who you like the most, and who you built, and who has done the most help for your account. I hope to see a little versatility, but it might just all be Gauze Ironhide. You know how everybody's been whooping him up. I think Strider's a big one too. It was very tight between the two of them, honestly. Wubate, number 10. You're like, whoa, what's going down here, right? And that's probably for a lot of my list, honestly. I leveled up a lot of characters, and I tried a lot of different characters, Gear Tier 5s, 6s, and stuff. And this guy really came in clutch, I guess would be the word for it, because you need a 5th Shadow character with your 3 Isengard and your Gauze Ironhide. I didn't want to go Edric. His kit is just, ugh. And this guy has potential in the future to be coming into the Haradrim faction, which he is Haradrim, but when they expand upon it, and then he could be useful in that aspect, I think his kit would just be that much better. The problem right now is on his passive. When attacking an enemy with Black Serpent's Poison, heal by 0.5%, which is not much, but it's a passive heal, and that's huge. That's how the Isengard 3 get by, and that's why I like him so much. So this is massive. And it's based off this character's max health. Well, right now, I don't think there's any way to put out Black Serpent's Poison without more of the Haradrim. And they're late game farms, so that's why he's not higher on the list. What really shined for me, not just being the 5th Shadow character, is this ultimate. It's an AoE, which is great, right? As well as it's going to slow every single one of them characters. That's massive. It's got big damage, 150% damage. You know, it's going to tap out at 230 and apply slow for 2 turns. That's going to cripple an opponent if they can't cleanse it. So that's just an amazing, amazing ability. As well as you're already using him for a 5th, so that his kit is somewhat good, was a real big bonus for me. Cleanse 1 Bane from self, attack the target enemy for decent damage, and gain 1 stack of Provoke. So he will pseudo tank, essentially, and it's only 1 time. So he is rather squishy when he gets hit. It's good that it's only for 1 turn. Now I believe his basic doesn't help him here. I thought he gave protection, but attack the target enemy for 110% damage. Does it get any worse than that? I mean, I guess it could be 100% damage. He has nothing else on his A1, which is god awful. So AoE with the slow, huge. This one ain't terrible. It's got decent damage for a special, as well as its cleansing and provoking. Without being able to use this and this wimpy A1, he's really not that great a character. But for the month of May, he made the top 10 and came in clutch for me big time. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and end the video right here and say thank you for watching. Hopefully all the way through. Hopefully you got some ideas of what you could do. A lot of it, you probably have similar stuff. Just different on how much you've geared or leveled them. And you're probably, I imagine, surprised to see a few of these characters even made the list. Definitely comment down below on who was your best character this month. I would love to read it. Subscribe and like for more content like this, and stay up to date with the channel. Much love, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one.